Okay. So this month rather, we're surging to 150,000 members of our sales associates or recruits in our sales force in September. So that's the theme this month. Again, we have the largest sales force in North America. Just because we're not on TV as commercials doesn't mean a thing. We're the largest independent financial services marketing organization in North America, point blank. And we've been around since 45 years. 45 years, February 10th, 1977. February 10th, 1977 is when the company started. So we're still in the Bahama bound trip. Who wants to go to the Bahamas? I definitely want to go. I need a breather. My wife needs one, and it ain't nothing wrong with it being free, all inclusive paid trip to the Bahamas. Okay, so Nassau, Bahamas. And the qualification is from May to November. So we still have time. And if you just getting started, that doesn't mean you can't go. So there's 2 phases. There's 1,200 slots, but that's 2 people per slot. So you're looking at how many people? 2,400 people that they're actually going to pay for. And then they add more slots as the months go by for different categories and different things like that to help you be able to win the trip to that. So the first phase is February 10th through the 13th. And then the second phase is February 13th through the 16th, because they rent out that whole resort and it's not enough space for everybody to be there at one time. Okay. So here, set license records for 250,000 bonusable premium points. That's what BPPS stands for. So if you do this, you beat your best team life licensing record by September month end, and minimum of 2 licenses. That's $250,000 bonusable points toward your Bahama bound score. So many of you don't, it's just you right now, but I mean, hey, you don't have to beat a score from last year if you didn't have one, right? So go to the Primerica app, Primerica Now, scroll to see your best. If your best was 0, if you get 2 people licensed during this time period, during this month, and they can get licensed within 30 days, guys. The test only takes 2 weeks to pass. People just drag it out too long. They do. That test is nothing but a vocabulary test. That's what it is. It's really not that hard of a test if you're focused. Okay. And so get an additional 5 times bonusable premium points credit for premium and investments. So this month they'll multiply your Baha Mar base formula bonusable premium points for life premium and securities production by 5. So if you do $1,000 in life premium, obviously I'm the only one on here that's securities license. I want to change that, but you'll get 5,000 bonusable premium points toward the trip. Okay. And they're winning it just with the life insurance. Most people, believe it or not, are not securities licensed in the company. It's only about 40,000 of us out of the 130,000. So there's still 90-something thousand people with only a life insurance license that's working. And most of them are part-time. They still have their jobs. Okay. And they're making 40, 50,000 or more a year just selling life insurance. But you got to be talking to people to do that. Okay. We also want to talk to responsible people. One of the things we don't want to keep doing is talking about people need life insurance. That's not our target market. We want people that not only need it, they want it, and they can afford it. They got to meet all 3 of those criteria. Otherwise, it's a no-go. You end up writing bad business that will not. And if it's bad business, you won't win a trip. Not only that, you won't make any money. Okay, so 20,000 more bonusable premium points for every license, life, securities, and mortgage. Okay, 20,000 bonusable premium points for passing all 4 LLQP exams in Canada. I want to go back to the mortgage thing real quick, because there's no income requirement for the mortgage now at all. You do have to get securities license. So get your securities license, get the mortgage license, because I am actually becoming a part of a group that we're going to support one another in that area. So you can become a part of that group as well and get business doing mortgages, and everything else will fall into place through the mortgages, because the same person that gets a mortgage through you or refinances through you needs life insurance to protect that mortgage. They're going to also need, most of them have kids. You can set up college funds for the children, all of those things. So they go one, and then you can do the other ancillary stuff, the alarm system and things like that. And they may even have an elderly parent that lives with them. Now you can do the health care, the Medicare, because a lot of times people have houses, their parents live with them. So it's just endless, the things that we can do for those families. So that's on top of the 30,000 bonusable premium points already built into the builder's production points. So you get 30,000, then you do 20,000 for every license, life securities, and then another 20,000 for passing exam. Well, that's in Canada. So 20,000. So you get 50,000 points if you do what's already built into it. And then another 20,000 points per license. All right. So here in September, 20,000 bonus premium points for every new senior healthcare certification, doubled. So that's all they're doing is going watch the video. So if you get somebody involved in a business, they watch the video, they're certified to do the senior health, and they're going to get 20,000 bonus points, and you will too. You'll get points as well. So 5,000 bonus premium points for every referred senior health application submitted through eTeleQuote. And I'm assuming, I'm not sure, but I would almost bet that it has to be a successful one. They can't just call and then nothing happened, and then you think you're going to get 5,000 points. 20,000 bonus premium points for every new Canada mortgage. And so that they've been doing mortgages in Canada way before we started doing them again here. So all uplines through RVP also get the additional credit. So if you're a district leader or you're a rep, the person above you who is a senior rep, the district leader, division, regional, all the way up to regional vice president, they get points. They get points as well. So everybody has an incentive to help each other. Okay. So 25 new slots added for Baha Mar just for the senior health. For RVP and above, there's 10 slots. For everyone else, that's including me, senior health, personal, there's 15 more slots that was added for that. So total 25 slots. Also, the senior health referral program incentive, new qualification guidelines, submit a minimum of 6 qualified senior health referrals in August and September and receive a Primerica Polo. Get the flyer and more details on POL. The qualification period for that is from August 1st to September 30th. Okay, so then we have here bank $50 in field training bonus credits. So field training bonus eligible recruits do this. Log into the Primerica app, 24 hours of submitting their IBA so that you can't sit on it. A lot of time I try to get people to log into the app that very single day that I do that IBA for them. And that way they can go ahead and get that credit, because what's going to happen is if you don't show them how to do that, they're not going to do it within the 24 hours and they won't get $50. If that person only paid $99 to join, and we're going to turn around and give them $50 once they get licensed, they have to do one by one recruit and 1,000 in premium, get licensed, and they get $50 back. So basically they only paid $49 for their application fee. If they ran a special, like the other month, they ran a schedule, it was just $39 for the application fee. We actually paid them to come into business, those people that joined. So you never know when they're running an incentive. So take advantage of that. Also here, complete pre-licensing, that equals big bonusable premium points for the team. So do this. So this is just somebody going to class. You and your uplines through RVP get 20,000 points just for somebody going to class. That's most of the time online, either through Zoom or they can get on the online class themselves at their pace and actually do that. Okay. Which is, they have no instructor, but they can complete it at their own pace. So that's easy peasy to get 20,000 points, just having somebody go to class. Field training bonus eligible recruits do this. Get a paid field training bonus by September month end, and you and your uplines through RVP get 30,000 points. So they're going to give you 30,000 points because somebody got paid a field training bonus. So it doesn't say a specific amount here. So, but they got to do at least 1 by 1,000 to meet the criteria. Okay, so one recruit, $1,000 in premium. That's an $83 a month app in life insurance. Okay. All right, redesign perfect path to security. So here, interactive, easy, step-by-step process for each securities license category. We have the Kaplan study online materials right here. You know, I got Mr. Good friend of mine from I used to work with from North Shore Middle School. He was on here. I actually was going through this program when I saw him outside the parking lot one day. I was studying the Kaplan. I had this big old binder, and he was like, "What's that you got there, Brown?" You know, so and I had that binder, and I studied, and I went past my exam. Unfortunately, they did not have a $300 bonus back then, but things keep getting better and better for the people that's coming on. I'm trying to figure out where do you go where somebody pays for the test. When you pass the test, they give you money for passing the test. Okay, so become active with PFSI. If you're curious what PFSI stands for, that's Primerica Financial Services Investments, and watch the Reg BI, okay, and the Department of Labor videos. The BI stands for best interest. So we're highly regulated. We have to do what's in the best interest, even though this does not always happen out there in the financial world. It's supposed to happen. So there's a best interest video you have to watch, and the Department of Labor. They just passed some more laws regarding our industry. And my thing is do the right thing, because if you don't, eventually they're gonna catch up with you. You know, and I understand it as an educator. We were highly regulated as educators. So a lot of things we cannot do as an educator, even down to our social media. We can get in trouble, you know, so we understand that concept. So then complete at least 1,000 in production. Newly licensed also earn the new PFS, Primerica Financial Services Investment lapel pin. And to find more information, you go to POL home, securities licensing tab, get your securities license, okay? And also this presentation is actually on the home page of POL. So I didn't put this together myself. And so this is the trip that was in the Broadmoor. So man, doesn't that look beautiful? So this was the last company trip, 2022, that people, when they do this often, quite often, the Broadmoor trip. And this is in the mountains in Colorado. I didn't know they had places that look this beautiful in the United States, but it actually looks really nice. These are some of the photos here. This guy here used to be an educator, Mr. Polk, used to be a music teacher. Makes pretty close to $1 million a year in Primerica now. Changed his life. So he was making about $23,000 a year when he started. He said he was so broke, he ate cereal with a fork to save the milk. Okay, so right here, Primerica named most trusted. This just recently happened. We're the the number one most trusted life insurance company in the United States by Investors Business Daily, excuse me. And we're the number 3 on their list of most trusted financial company. That's why I keep reminding people, we're not just a life insurance company. You know, people call us Prime America. That's what Harvey was alluding to, being funny, and you can hear the people in the background laughing. It's Primerica, not Prime America. You know, but that's what people call us. I don't know. They never take the time to look at the name, even if you pronounce it right, they say it wrong. But Primerica is the number 3 most trusted financial company. And this is one of the objections you're gonna get. Well, we paid them to say that. I'm gonna leave that where it's at. That's silly. Okay, so here, meet the most trusted financial companies for 2022 is USAA, which is the military, Mr. Polk, right? And then you have Vanguard, and then we're number 3.
Correct.
And it's a close race. You see that? We only 2/10 of a point behind number 2.
Wow.
Right? And then we're only 2 points, less than 2 points behind number 1. So it's a tight race. And we all know about tight races. That can change at any time, right? Right here, three most trusted companies. When it comes to life insurance, we've surpassed New York Life and Prudential. Prudential has been our rival for 45 years. You know, and this is our training. This doesn't go out in the public, but these two companies have decimated communities as far as teaching them financial literacy. They have not done it. New York Life used to put life insurance policies on slaves for the slave owner, and Prudential is notorious for selling both of them sell whole life policies, but they are notorious for selling whole life policies and policies that have actually taken advantage of people who are ill-informed or have lack of knowledge when it comes to financial literacy. We're the only company that's listed on here that's doing the right thing, to be honest. Again, we're number 3. And then if you can see all the way down to number 10, it's a tight race between JP Morgan, which is Chase Bank, and Fidelity, which Fidelity owns quite a bit of shares in Primerica, and they're one of our platform fund companies on as far as the investments are concerned. But it's a tight race. We're number 3. See that? And then USAA, they got in the category of auto insurance. All right, so on the home page, that's where you can go and find more information about that if you're curious about it. And then also there's social media posts that you can post. So you can go and learn how to post little things about social media. Just be careful about posting too much about Primerica. What you need to start doing is learning how to market yourself. Okay. Next Gen is here. So this is our new insurance product. And so that's why I thought it was important to really talking about this, because it's coming down the pipe, and we're going to have to, for those of us that already have done life insurance application, we're going to have to unlearn some stuff. And those of us that have not done anything yet, you're going to have to learn along with us, because we're all going to be learning together. Okay, so September 14th, Alpha from Vermont and Newfoundland. So that's in Canada. And so they're doing a training webinar. See, we're not just doing trainings in the United States. We're international. Okay. They're doing another training in September 21st, Beta 1 in Colorado and Alberta, which is also in Canada, province in Canada. Training webinar 9/19 to be determined. That's in Arizona, and I can't pronounce that, but that's also in Canada. Okay, so our game plan, now is the best time to protect families. We're going to plug in the webinars, trainings, sites, and RSM. So I'm going to be posting when these trainings are coming up. It's your responsibility to keep up with them and put them on your calendar. Don't get lost in the sauce and then expect somebody else to help you with learning all this stuff, especially if they're learning on the side too. That's going to frustrate me, I'm going to be honest. Because if I'm trying to learn too, and you haven't taken the time out and you asking me questions, that's going to frustrate me. So I'm just letting you know up front, I'm going to refer you right on back to POL. Okay. So become a next gen champion. So now it's the best time to protect families. Policies issued January 1st through next gen launch will be eligible to reapply for next gen products. New underwriting requirements may apply. No internal replacement penalty and no negative persistency impact. So you can go back to some of your clients that have been issued policies since the beginning of the year. You may be able to give them a better rate and win that client over even more so with other products and services if you're able to give them a better rate, save them money, or give them the more coverage for the same money that they're spending. That still builds credibility with that person. So make sure you go back and visit anyone that has gotten a policy since January 1st with you, for those of you that have written policies. Okay. And so here, these are some trainings that's on POL. If you go under the products tab under life insurance, we just had this one on the 7th. I tried to record it, but when I went back, I don't know what happened to the recording, and I was quite frustrated, but we're going to move on. So that was Harvey Grajales. That was the speaker that I showed you at the beginning, for those of you who were on here earlier. September 14th, Crushing Whole Life Insurance. That's Jimmy Lai. You know, so we don't have very many agents in Primerica, but this is one of few. This person here. And so crushing whole life insurance, that's very important to get on there because it's not going to go away, guys. These companies are they're patent turner. We say where I'm coming from. They patent the streets and turning the corners. And you're going to be crushed yourself if you don't start learning about these different products that are out there and how to combat them. Okay, so crushing universal life. That is the worst policy that could ever be sold to man, and they're using it very intricately with this infinite banking that's going on. Almost everywhere I turn, because I talk to people, a lot of people on a daily basis, somebody is approaching me with this infinite banking, and you need to understand what it's about and how it works. And also the most prevalent policy that you're going to come across is a universal life policy. That is the baby of whole life, and it was started in the 80s, and it's used to trick people and deceive them into thinking that they're investing. And so that is the one that's being sold the most because it's attractive. They use attractive jargon to sell it. Okay, September 28th, the power of winning presentation. This is April and Monte Bonner. His name is Samonte. That's his real name, but he goes by Monte. So that's his mama, April. She was a registered nurse. She quit her nursing to help her son in his business, and they make well over $500,000 a year. Matter of fact, his dad went to prison. With the money that they made in Primerica, she was able to get his sentence reduced. He almost got 20 years or something like that in prison, but he did less than 2 or 3 years in prison. I think he did less than 2 years. Money is power. I'm quite sure he appreciates that they were able to go and make money in Primerica. She used almost all the money they made. They made like $100,000 or $200,000 within the first year of being here to get him a lower sentence. That's a ride or die chick, huh? Right? So, webinar. Plug into these webinars. You have another national webinar, Next Gen. So this is October 5th is when they're really getting into the new life insurance product that we're having. So you're going to go to POL under products, life insurance, Next Gen training experience, and there's already training videos on here. I encourage you to go ahead up front and start training on this stuff yourself. Don't wait for somebody to give you the information way in October. I've already gone and looked through almost every video that they've had there because I want to be ahead of the game, not behind, okay? So October 8th, National Webinar Super Saturday on Next Gen. So then October 27th, National Webinar Next Gen Transition Plan. So you definitely want to be on that because you want to understand when they're starting to transition from our old product, which is Custom Advantage, to our Term Now, which is going to be precision, precision. That's going to be Term Now for when they transition. And then Next Gen is going to be Custom Advantage. Okay. And they're doing a bunch of road shows. I don't see us on here, and I'm not traveling to those cities to go to it. So, but if you want to, you're more than welcome to go and take one for the team and bring the information back, okay? And so this is our sales team here, manager team in the home office. Steve Madison is the chief marketing officer and senior vice president, okay? And these are just different contacts for your state that you can, so this young lady here, Sochi Lopez, she actually used to work for AIG. And ironically, right before she started working for us, she did a one-on-one meeting with me to teach me about one of the AIG annuities. And then all of a sudden I looked up, she was working with Primerica. I'm like, okay, all right. Could have let a brother know you was going to do all that, but that's okay. Well, none of my business, right? So here, that's Connect Canada. So this is what's going to happen. We're going to use a more protection approach. So with pricing improving by 7.5 million in annual premium, many clients will have the ability to have a higher face amount for the same premium. So utilize the FNA and mobile FNA. I'm going to go over that today to show you how to do a mobile FNA on somebody. Please, please, please Do not talk to people and don't find out other stuff about them. We are not a life insurance company. I'm seeing too many people, and they don't last long here. They want to just make a quick buck, and they don't realize how much they're leaving on the table. And not only that, you're not asking the right questions, and that person ends up not even keeping the life insurance because you didn't ask the right questions. If you don't ask the right questions, you don't know what to teach them. You know, going back to my educator years, if you don't ask your kids the right question in the class, you don't know how to assess them. So you have to ask the right questions, see where they fall on their understanding. Okay, so here, female age 35, non-tobacco, that's what NTU stands for. Custom Advantage 30 years, okay? $250,000. It would have cost them $45.37. Now a female, age 35, class 4. Another thing, we're not doing tobacco, non-tobacco. Well, we are doing tobacco and non-tobacco. I take that back. But we're not doing preferred plus, standard, or none of those designations. We're not doing that. They're going to fall within a class. Instead, it's going to be a number. Okay? Because they found that those classes actually cause more problems. They ask more questions about that. And then a person who knows what preferred is, when they don't get it, they get that's why my brother-in-law, they end up getting upset, you know, and stuff like that, and canceling the policy. Okay? So precision term 30 is $325,000 for only $1.05. So which one would you rather? The left or the right? Obviously the right, right? Right. So it's the same age, but over almost $100,000 more, $75,000 more for $1.05 more. So we're into protecting families. Again, if you want some statistics, our average policy right now is about $269,000 face amount. The average for the industry is about $169,000. So we're covering what we're supposed to be covering, which is income, not just putting insurance on people just so they can have a grand funeral and maybe might, because most clients I sit down with, they got about $50,000 in coverage. You ain't really having too much grand of a life after you done buried the person out of that money. You'd already spent 10 or more, and you only got about 30 left. Okay, so let's master the next gen products and process by implementing the 5-sale rule. Complete 5 personal life sales to be considered an expert and receive special recognition. Become a next gen champion, fight for our cause, and become an advocate and defender of next gen. Know the facts, identify and promote features that will excite your team, ignite the crusade, voice, activate the vision to double face amount. So again, we're surging to 150,000 life licensed representatives in our company, not just people that join. They got to be licensed. You know, I went to the one of my clients that owns a barber school. So his ultimate goal is to get what? Those people that he recruited to become he wants them to get licensed. So he showed me a text today and from somebody who doesn't show up. Now, and they got money. They got money. They actually, I'm going to post this in my group. They actually pay. The work source will pay for you to go to school to get a barber's license. So this person got money from the work source, not showing up. They're trying to bootleg all barber and all that stuff like that. He showed me the text the guy sent them and all that stuff today. And at the end of the day, he said, "You're not getting a dime back from me. Go find you another school." That's what he told him, because you're not showing up and I'm not putting up with it, because he wants them to get licensed. And the guy said, "Well, release my money." He said, "You're not getting any money back from me, and you're going to have to pay the work source back." So again, I'm just relating that to, because our ultimate goal is that we need to have people licensed. If you're just joining to sit around, and this is not a sorority or a fraternity, you know, even at that, they have goals and stuff that they have to meet. But it's not a social group. They have to get licensed. They're no good to us if they're not making any money. Okay. And if they make money, we make money. Okay. So 10 more $2 million earners That's what we've added to that. We will add to that with 150,000. So 10 more $2 million earners, 25 more $1 million earners. We have more 6 and 7 figure people in this company than any company in North America. 750 more diamond levels, 600 more $100,000 earners, and I want to be in that 100,000 within the next few months, and then 600 more RVP promotions. And I want some people that want to do it. You can't make anybody do what they want to do, but I want several people coming right behind me within the next 30, 60 days, making 100,000 as well. All right, so here, this is just showing you the game changer recruits. So a couple of months ago, they did a game changer where you actually could recruit one person that will change the game, and they got to join for free. So Yade Perez and Ben Splatter, I don't know how to pronounce that, but they did 66 game changer recruits. Out of those 66, 8 got licensed. 12%. So the RTC, whenever you see that, because I try to spell stuff out because we use a lot of abbreviations in this industry and people don't know what's going on. RTC means recruit to code. A code means that person got licensed. So they only got 12%, but that's about, for every 8 people that you talk to qualified, not somebody who you think is needy. They just got fired from their job. They got fired from their job. They're not going to do good over here, to be honest. That's very rare that somebody gets fired from their job. And then we want to know why they got fired. So we're not trying to give them a job. And they're going to be looking for a job anyway. Most people that got fired, they're looking for another job. They can't entertain a business opportunity right now. Okay. And if they got fired for some suspicious reason, you definitely want to bring them over here. All right. So 12%. So if every 8, that we talk to, only 1 qualified people, only 1 is going to actually join us in business. So you got to talk to get 10. You got to talk to at least how many people? 80 people. So you got to constantly be open. Somebody say, well, that's a lot. Well, if you're serious about your business, you're always telling people about your business. If I cut hair, I'm always be talking about people cutting hair. If I do hair, I'm always be, my hair better be dead, first of all. I'm trying to figure out some people, because I see some people that walking around, they say they do hair and cut hair, and I'm like, your hair look worse than anybody. Why would I let you cut my hair, or do my hair, So we're always advertising. We're always on point. We're talking to people, we're meeting, we're shaking hands, kissing babies. President Obama, I was watching something where they honored him at the White House. But how did he even get to the point where he was president, the first African-American president and first African-American first lady? How did they get there? They certainly was sitting on the couch at home. They was talking. Them people they're probably glad they're no longer in that arena anymore, because they probably was exhausted. She said that she cried when they was on that helicopter leaving the White House for the last time. She had to release everything because she had to watch what she say. She had to watch what she do. So again, with us, we have to be out there shaking hands, kissing babies. We got to watch our image, how we dress, all that stuff, because all of that stuff comes back and as how you look. So I'm very careful what I do, what I say in public, what I post online, because all that comes back to haunt you later on down the road, and you won't be able to get people to follow you in the business, any business for that matter. And it's no different in primary. We just work in financial services, but at the end of the day, any business that you have, if you want to turn it into a true business that you can walk away, you need people working with you and for you in that business. So don't cloud your thinking that you're doing something different over here. It's not. It's the same thing. All companies, businesses need people to grow. Okay, they need people to grow. Otherwise, you're the only one there. You slip and fall, or something happens to you, your business has slipped and fell along with you. Okay. All right, so 2022 recruits year to date, first 45 days. So $99 IBA. So we got 139,000 recruits, $49 IBA, 33,000. $39 IBA 37, and Game Changer 45,000 recruits from the Game Changer. So my thing is, it doesn't matter how much it costs. If somebody really want to do this business, they're going to do it. They're going to do it because I've seen people pay way more than this and don't get half the amenities that we get in this company. And I've seen them pay $400 or $500. And as a matter of fact, there's a list. I'm gonna post a list in our group where the Federal Trade Commission actually put together a list of businesses and what percentage of the people lost money. They didn't earn any money, they lost money. Okay. And so I'll post that today. And so we'll go to the next slide. So our game plan, every recruit uses the field training bonus to its fullest. As I know of to date, the highest paid out bonus was over $18,000. So when that person got licensed, within the next, I think over the next 30 to 60 days, she got licensed. So she got that field training bonus, $18,000, and then she was able to go make money on her license from there. So that person went on about 60 appointments. That person obviously had some credibility with almost everybody that they sat down with. That person was supported and they done business. That's not my story, but there's somebody out here. I might be one of y'all on here if you get to work. You know, so new recruits need recruits and field training sales now. New recruits need a structured licensing process now, and leave Broadmoor and grow your team. Okay, so there's a top resource for license success and POL. It's called the Recruit Tracker, and you'll see it right here when you hit this little tab right here. Go to all apps, and right here, and then go under Track My Business. And that's the Recruit Tracker right here. So you track and mentor best next steps, contact recruits from the report, upload documents, monitor field training bonus progress, customize and sort and export to Excel and print. So you can print out so you can actually follow, mark off, highlight who you need to the reason why I'm showing you some of this stuff, well, it doesn't apply to me right now, but this is what you're going to be doing if you build a team. You know, and we want you to build a team if that's what you choose to do. So you need to know the stuff that you have to do to keep up with your team. Okay, so top resources for licensing success, twice weekly recruit tracker emails. And so it shows you who didn't register for class, all of those things. So it comes up on your phone, on your app. And so you can go and hit any of these things on here and it will bring you to those reports. Okay. Top resource for licensing. This thing is in the way. Hold on. Top resource for license success, leaders view of recruit app. So leadership approved. Now you can see exactly what your recruit sees on the app. Explain how to monitor the field training bonus, check licensing process, and best next steps. So you just go to Primerica app, view recruits homepage. All right, so top resource for license success, licensed specialists. So our building a team in North America is up 9%, getting more registered, up 147%, get more attends, up 150%, get more completions, 152%, get more licenses, 177%, and earn more field training bonus credit. Now, right now, we don't have a licensing specialist on our team. I am the person. I would love to pass that responsibility over to someone else when we can identify who that person would be. All right. And then so top resources for recruits, you and the base shop team, Primerica app experience, field training bonus overview and tracking, links to next best actions and tools, PFSU pre-licensing classes, coaches and review webinars, next best action messaging, recruit emails and notifications to inform and prompt next steps, pass now and see why learning life exam simulators. Okay. And so the magic of 30 more life licenses. So if you get 30 people on your team, a license. So RVP, I'm not an RVP, but all of us have a base shop if we're actually recruiting. You just don't have total control of your base shop, the RVP does, the regional vice president, but you still, if you, I want to be a regional vice president, that's what I'm working on. So 30 more life licenses adds 10,000 per month of premium, resulting in an average of $100,000 per year in RVP compensation. So if you're a regional leader, if you're a division, you're probably going to be making about between 40 and 50,000. If you get 30 people licensed, you're going to be making, so, and that's in addition, if you're still working a job, now you're bringing in well over $100 and some $1,000 a year. If you're not already bringing 100,000 at your job already. Okay, so the average newly promoted RVP has a life license team of 30 at the time of promotion. And so that ends that for this, for the announcements for this month. For this, a lot this month that they had coming out with a lot of incentives. And so what I want to do is show you, let me log in the POL, how to get to doing an app. Since everybody on here is actually licensed, I'm not going to recreate the wheel with anything. They have all the tools at your resources on at your leisure and your reach on Primerica Online. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
I can see it.
Okay, so if you can, what about now? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Did it change to up to the minute at the top here?
Yes.
Okay. So right here, you're gonna go to the life insurance tab. I hit the wrong one. So life insurance tab. In the slides, it talked about the trainings. These are the trainings that are coming up. Also, the next gen training experience is right here. I've already gone through all this. I even looked at the practice application. So I encourage you just to get a head start on this stuff, and also go and register yourself for every training that they, I'm sorry, this thing messed up. Hold on, let's see. So again, go back to the life insurance tab. Go through here and register yourself for every training that's coming up and add it to your calendar. Most of us use Google. Add it to your Google calendar or your Outlook calendar so that you're not scrambling trying to figure out. And if you can't make it, that's fine. Some of us are not available at 3 o'clock during the week. That's fine. But at least you know the training was coming up, and you can ask somebody else who was on it, can they give you the information? Okay. But definitely everybody should be able to make this. Most people should be able to make the Saturday when it's October 8th. I'm not saying that that everybody will, but most of us should be able to make the one on Saturday, which is the Super Saturday. But if not, at least put it on your calendar. At least you know it came up. I'm going to be recording these. If hopefully I don't have any more bloopers, but I'm going to be recording every last one of them. Okay. And for those of you that have the capability of recording, if you're able to make it, go ahead and record it just in case something happens with my system. You're not depending on me just to do it. Okay. All right. So now we talked about that. So one of the things you're going to need to know when you're doing the life insurance, where your forms are. So all your forms are here. Some of these times you're going to need some of these forms. You go to the state of Texas and all of your forms are here. You have to do a paper application. You shouldn't have to do it in most cases, but you never know. Your disclosure booklets, all of those things are here. Policy owner services. So if you need to change beneficiaries on paper, clients have the ability to change their beneficiaries in their portal online now. But this is here. Reconsideration, somebody gets declined, that's where your form is right here. You have to send in those medical records with that reconsideration request. I just had to do that for a client recently. And so direct deposit authorization and things like that, if somebody changes their home address, and things like that. If somebody was in Primerica under somebody before, and they want to come on your team, and they have a valid, and you think that they have a valid reason that, for wanting to come, and they haven't really done nothing with that person wants to actually sign off on it, they would have to sign off and they would be a part of your team. So that's a networking agreement. That's where you will find that, so that's where your forms are. So now, go back up to the top here. Go to the training tab here. The products tab. So these are the products now that we're, doing now. So that's going to change. And then hit product training here. And there's videos on here about all of our training. Now, AIR is automatic increase. Forgot what it stands for. To see, I forgot what AIR stands for, but it's what AIR does. It actually, if somebody applies for coverage and they get a higher rate than what was expected. So let's say they were standard. You gave them a standard quote, but they were fine as a old bottle of wine, a height, weight, shape, proportion. Just good shape. And they got a better rating. They will give them more coverage, automatically increase that coverage for the same amount. So I always put yes for that. I don't ask the client about it. So that's what video you can go back and watch on that. The video I want to focus on is how to take a life app, because that's important. Okay, so we're going to click on that.
Your kitchen table life presentation just got a major upgrade. Introducing the next generation of Life app, version 3.0.
This is my glory. I'ma do it right. All day long.
Uno, dos, tres.
Hi, I'm David Bride, National Sales Manager and Associate Vice President here at Primerica. Congratulations. We are excited that you joined the Primerica team and made the decision to help families protect their loved ones and begin working towards financial independence. There are too many uninsured and unprotected families, and it's time to step up and do what's right. Freedom for families, for theirs and for yours. Now that you are life licensed, we want to equip you with the knowledge and the confidence to go out and make a difference. Today, I'll walk you through how to complete the Life App 3.0 and provide some helpful hints along the way. Keep in mind, you can do as many practice apps as you would like, and we encourage you to get comfortable with all the scenarios that you might be presented with at the kitchen table. Let's go ahead and get started. Once you've logged into the Primerica app, tap the navigation or the 3-bar menu next to the Primerica, located in the upper left-hand corner. Now, select Turbo Apps and then tap the Life Application tab. As you can see, the activity screen shows all the Life applications you've started. To create a new Life app, simply tap the blue plus icon in the bottom right corner of the screen. Select Add New Contact, review the important instructions, and select I agree to move forward. On this next screen, you'll see some preliminary questions that Turbo Apps uses to generate the appropriate Life application form for you and your applicant. You'll notice these questions are basic questions, and the response is required before you can proceed to the next step. On this screen, you can select the applicant's preferred language, English or Spanish in the US, and English or French in Canada. If Spanish is selected in the US, a courtesy copy of the application will be provided in Spanish at the policy delivery, and the English-Spanish leave behind booklet must be provided to the applicant. Remember, English is still the official version in the US. I want to make sure you see the practice application box. Make sure to always answer yes when you're running through the practice scenarios so you don't accidentally submit these as real applications. To move through the life application, simply use the continue or back boxes at the bottom of the screen. You can also move around to different sections of the application by tapping the 3-bar navigation menu next to the life application. This opens up a menu for all the sections of the life application. Next is the writing reps information. You are always listed as the default agent, but you have the option to add a second life license agent to split sell, or if the trainee is present, be sure to include the rep ID as it cannot be added after the submission. Now you're ready to enter the information for the primary insured. You must complete all fields marked with a red asterisk before you can tap continue and move forward. The next screen provides the option to add the spouse to the policy, followed by the option to add a child rider. For demonstration purposes, let's take a minute to add the spouse rider and child rider information. The Life app version 3.0 includes a language toggle feature that can be used to move throughout the application. By tapping on the language toggle drop-down menu on the upper right-hand corner of the screen, the current section of the application will change into the language selected. Using the toggle feature won't change the applicant's preferred language. To do that, you'll need to return to the preliminary questions page. The policy owner is automatically populated as the primary insured. However, you may designate an alternate owner from the drop-down menu. Now let's talk about the beneficiary information. It's essential that you carefully enter the beneficiary information to ensure that it accurately reflects the applicant's wishes. Tap the blue I button for an explanation of revocable and irrevocable beneficiaries. For additional detail on what to consider when naming beneficiaries, visit the Resource and Materials tab within the life insurance page on POL. On the following screen, the applicant will advise if they have an existing life insurance or an annuity in force, and if it will be replaced by the Primerica policy. When you reach the medical questions section, a pop-up screen reminds you of the important role you play in providing accurate medical information for your applicants. You will notice on the Life app version 3.0 that all medical questions for the primary, spouse, and children can be answered on one consolidated screen. Be sure to provide detailed information for the questions that are answered yes. Now, let's walk through the process of adding coverage. Choose the coverage that best suits your applicant's needs and budget. Start with the primary insured and choose the product, insurance class, term, unit, and waiver of premium. Next, choose the coverage for the spouse and the child rider to see the premium automatically calculate. Make sure applicants know to maximize their benefits with AIR for the primary and spouse. If your applicant selects AIR, it uses the difference in premium from qualifying for a better underwriting class to increase the applicant's coverage. For more details, visit Training tab within the life insurance page, again on POL. Here's a helpful hint. If you select a face amount that exceeds Primerica's coverage limits, Turbo Apps displays a note that explains the maximum units allowed based on your applicant's age. Once you've made all your selections, click Continue and review the underwriting requirements within the application. After completing the HIV disclosure questions, tap Continue and complete the billing information. After you complete all sections of the life insurance application, a quick check will identify any incomplete items and redirect you to the appropriate screen to complete. Next, review the agent acknowledgement and tap I agree. Then your final step is to obtain the applicant's signatures. The improved signature summary page allows each applicant to complete all of their signatures at one time. For their signatures, U.S. applicants will enter their social security number and tap the accept and sign button. Canadian applicants will enter their name and the month and the day of birth. Then tap the accept and sign button. Next, you, the life license representative, will enter your solution number as your signature and click the blue accept button to attest that you've completed this life insurance application within Primerica's guidelines for conducting business. In the event your applicant decides to adjust the coverage After signing the application, you will need to unlock the application by simply tapping the navigation menu, selecting Unlock Application, and then selecting Unlock. As a word of caution, whenever you unlock any life application, all billing information and signatures will be erased. You must contact the applicant to regather this information. Remember, the Tools tab in the left navigation menu will provide you with the products and underwriting guidelines, and the information icon will provide guidance throughout the application. I hope this application tutorial provides you with the tools you need to get some good practice and assist your clients with the utmost confidence. Primerica Home Office is always just a phone call away, and the entire team here supports you and wants to make sure that you grow your business.
Okay, any questions on the application process?
I think it's something that, becomes more user friendly the more time we spend learning about it.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta, and I'm gonna show you, I'm getting ready to bring up my POL stuff, but you gotta create you a dummy client. My client is Betty and Ronnie Boop, so and so I've been using her since probably about 15 years now, so and I just sat there and I practiced. When I ain't had no clients, guess what? They was my client. You practice long enough, you kind of putting that out in the atmosphere, you're going to end up having clients. They're going to start coming, But another thing I want to add to that, you're your first client. So if you're licensed and you don't have all the products and services that we offer, I mean, you should be the first one getting it if you're going to, because how are you going to passionately tell somebody about it when you don't even, and you know how it works when you actually own it, so you got to be an advocate. You can't have a bakery and never tasted your own apple pie. It doesn't make sense, so you start with yourself, and then you have a practice client that you can always practice on, especially when we come out with a new product or service. You definitely want to go in there and practice before you try to implement it on someone else. Okay. So let's go to UL. All right, so I'm going to the Primerica app. Can everybody see me on the Primerica app?
It's a white screen.
It hasn't come up yet, but it's coming.
Okay.
You see the swirl?
Yeah, okay. All right, we with you.
You got it. Okay. So Primerica app, this is actually how the app looks on your phone. You can actually get to it on the POL if you're on a computer as well. So you have the hamburger menu over here on the left, the 3 lines look like, they call it hamburger menu because the meat's in the middle and the 2 buns on top and bottom, right? So you click on that and you're going to go to, first of all, let's say I'm talking with somebody about life insurance and they say, you know what? I think I'm interested in it. But I'm going to do a needs assessment real quick. So you're going to use your discretion on what's best for that client based on the questions that you ask them. So here, I've talked to the client. I discovered that there's a great need for life insurance. They're on board. They want it, they need it, and they can afford it. They got to meet all 3 of those. If you can't meet all 3 of those with the person, don't even worry about it. Walk away. I'm telling you from experience. All business ain't good business. Keep in touch with them. Don't throw them in the trash. Now don't be like, ooh, keep in touch with them because eventually that person may want it, need it, and can afford it. Okay. We're not in the convincing business. If I got to convince you that your husband and your wife is important to you and your kids, then I'm talking to the wrong person. Okay. All right. So we're going to go down here to the life insurance needs. So I'm going to do a needs assessment. The needs assessment is based on the DIME theory. So if you're taking notes, D stands for death and debt. A lot of people, if you die with no insurance, you're going to end up that death is going to turn into debt because you're going to owe the funeral home money and all that stuff like that. So the average funeral across the board is about $15,000. So you want to have some money allotted for that. Okay, some things associated with the death, not necessarily, because there's another area where we well, I'm gonna say that the death itself and things that may be associated with the death. So we don't just have funerals and just dry funerals. I mean, we have they have the repast, you have the transportation for the family, all that stuff needs to be taken into consideration with that. So average cost about $15,000. So then debt, because we ain't trying to die. So debt, also the D stands for that. So how much debt? Anything that they have that has a interest rate attached to it, okay, and is taking money out of their household, especially student loans. You want to get that down because we want to make sure that stuff is paid off. Long gone are the days, when that person dies, their debt goes with them. If they owe student loans and they have property, they're going to attach that debt to that property. When that family tries to sell that property, guess what? The federal government going to get their money plus interest. So if there's anything left, you get what's left over. So we got to make sure that these families are bulletproof when it comes to stuff like this. Okay. So income is the I in dime, which is the most important thing. The real purpose of life insurance is to protect that income of that client. If you have income, if I make $25,000 a year, which does not seem like a lot, I need at least $250,000 of coverage, minimally $175,000. So I need 8 to 10 times coverage, especially if I have a child. We want to make sure that income is protected to that last child. The youngest child is at least 21 years old. Somebody had something in the chat here. 15,000 on average national. When I talk in numbers, it's national, because keep in mind, we're actually national. We're in all 50 states and territories. So we're in the United States, Puerto Rico, and Guam. We're not in the U.S. Virgin Islands, I don't think. No, we're not. And so that's where we are. And we're in Canada. So I'm talking about really internationally. Okay, when I'm saying these numbers, Canada is our neighboring country up in the north, but I don't think that the cost of living, it may be higher in some places, just like New York. Living here in New York is higher than living in Texas, but I think their cost of living is very similar to here. Okay. So income, 8 to 10 times whatever you make. So if you make $50,000 a year, you'd have about 500,000 maximum. A little bit, 400 and something will do, but 500,000 max. Okay, that's the income. Then the M is mortgage, and so as you can see, I'm not. They're not in order here, but they are here. So mortgage, and then education, and then expenses. So here, that's where you're going to put this here. So hold on just a second. All right. So you will plug in those numbers. So let's say we're talking to Betty and Ronald Boot, So I say here that Ronald makes $100,000 a year. Betty makes $75,000. Okay. So I'm not going to put that there yet because there's some things I got to talk to them about. But here, when I'm looking at their situation, everything is easy. It's already scripted. How much income would your family need? If you forget what to say, just click on the little icon right here, this little I for information, right? But I'm going to skip down because best practice to me is best practice to me is actually going to the next section, because how much income I'm going to replace is in direct proportion to these things down here first. Okay, so I'm assuming Mr. Boop. Sometimes you don't even want to talk directly. It just depends. Well, you talk to the man. You always talk to the man, and if it's a couple together that you're talking to. You talk to the man, but you make sure you include that woman. Okay, especially if you're a man talking to the couple, you want to make sure that you're not talking too much to his woman. You know, you want to make sure you definitely include him. If it's a woman talking to a couple, you want to make sure that you include the man, but you don't want to be all up on her man either. You don't want this turning into something that is not, okay, intended to be. So you want to make sure that you're inclusive of both. So I'm going to look at the man. I assume, Mr. Boo, that if you were to pass away, that you would want the house to be paid off. Yes. How much do you owe on the house? $200,000. What we owe. We just bought it not too long ago. They're going to tell you. So you fill that in, it's going to put in $200,000. I'm assuming, Mrs. Boop, you would want the same thing if something would have happened to Mr. Boop, correct? And you wait for her to answer. She's going to say yes to everything because she don't want to get caught with having to pay this mortgage without him. But you still want to include her. I'm assuming, Mr. Boop, that you would want all the debt paid off. Student loans, more house, car notes, all that stuff, not house note, because the house note went to the mortgage. Car notes, all those things paid off. If something, yes, how much debt do you have that you're currently paying on? Not that's in collections, that you're not in forbearance. Not we're gonna have to address those student loans later if they're in forbearance, but we're not worrying about that right now. Okay, so how much debt that you're currently paying on? Let me back up. I'm lying. If they have loans, we are going to include that. I'm thinking about something else. So if they have loans, student loans, so how much debt do you have, including student loans, that we're going to pay on? So we owe, including student loans, about $100,000 worth of debt. Combined, both of us. So you fill that in, it's going to automatically populate it over there. I'm assuming you would want the same thing, Mrs. Booth. Sure. So how many kids do you have? 3 kids. So, hey, we're going to put $50,000 per child for the education, because I'm assuming that both of you would like to have their education paid for if something would happen to one or both of you prematurely, right? So you're going to get a kickback. Sometimes they're going to say, well, my kid's going to get scholarships. And I'm just straight out with people. How do you even know your child is going to be in the headspace to get a scholarship? They already don't have you in their life. How do you know that? So you're going to leave it up to chance? I think my son is very smart. I think he probably will get a scholarship if he keep on the track that he's going. And my daughter, I think they're 2 smart kids, but I'm not sure of that. So guess what? I have enough to cover it. $150,000. That's $50,000 per child. If that was dropped in an investment account today, that would grow enough for a small child to cover a lot of their expenses when they go to college. And then I always raise it to $10,000. So when you're looking at this here, I don't ask them how much they want to spend for their funeral. I just put $10,000 there because it's more than enough, and it doesn't fill in automatically for both of them. You got to type in both of them for that. That is more than enough, because nobody, with all the rest of this coverage, now with all of the rest of this coverage here, that's enough to bury somebody. You know, you're going to have, even if I had to dip a little bit into one of these other areas, that's okay. You know, but that's more than enough. So I'm going to go back up now. This is the thing. I'm going to click this right here. What expense would you take care of or pay off? So that's what I should have asked them in the beginning. I forgot to click on it. Okay. If you choose to pay off your mortgage, keep in mind, that's why I didn't go to the income at first, because keep in mind, if you choose to pay off your mortgage, consumer debt, your income replacement needs may be less because you won't have these monthly expenses. Keep in mind, the more income you replace, the more expensive the insurance policy is going to be. So you want to keep it affordable. So now everything is going to be paid off. You won't have that $1,500 a month mortgage. You won't have the car notes, none of this stuff. So do you really need $100,000 and $75,000 a year for you two? No. So let's cut that in half. Let's replace 50,000 of his income and 35,000 or 37,500 for her. Now, it tells me how much coverage they need right here. I can click on this. So he needs, if we're gonna, oh, I forgot. So let's say that they have a child that's 5. The youngest child is 5. So I need 16 years to 21. Remember, I'm trying to get that child to 21 to cover that income. Okay. I'm sorry. I knew something was wrong. Annually. Make sure you change it to annual. It was giving this astronomical. I'm like, why you need that much coverage? No, so based on those numbers, that wasn't right. So annual income, or you could do monthly, but it's easier to do annual to me. And so here, he needs $1,187,000 in coverage, and she needs a little bit over $1 million in coverage. So can you see where people are actually underinsured? The vast majority of people are way underinsured with just $50,000 or even $100,000. Some people thinking they're doing a whole lot with $100,000. That $100,000 is going to be spent within the next couple of years after you've gone away. It's going to be in most cases, if not the same year, depending on how early in the year you passed away. So here, now we're going to hit quick quote. It goes straight into a quote from there. We found out what they needed, and now we're doing the quote. You can skip through all this stuff here. You read it. I'm skipping through it, but you read it to get understanding. I already seen this before. And so here, now I have, if I have the client in front of me, I always use this one here, because you won't, if you just do a straight quick quote, you won't know who you did it for. So you want to hit the next one, and if it's not a person that's already in your database, you're going to add them here. But I got Betty Boop in here already. See, Betty and Ronnie Boop. And I'm gonna hit OK. It's gonna drop, and I'm gonna include him, put my state here, Texas, and it's gonna drop that quote into the amount that they needed into the quote automatically for 35 years. Okay, they're young enough where they can get a 35-year term. Remember, with the term is 80. Their age in the term has to equal 80. It cannot be more than 80. Okay, so if I have a 35-year term, how old will I have to be in order for it to be 80?
Say it again.
If I'm looking at giving my client a 35-year term, what's the oldest I could be to qualify for a 35-year term? It can't be more than 80. You have to add 35 plus their age to equal 80.
Is it 45?
45 is the oldest I could be to get a 35-year term. The minute I turn 36, that's the end of it. What's the next level I will qualify for?
30.
30. What's the oldest I can be to qualify for a 30?
50.
50. So once I turn 51, it drops down to 25, and so forth and so on. Okay, so if I'm already 60, what do I call? What's the biggest term I can qualify for at 60?
20.
20. The minute I turn 61, oh, by the way, the new next gen product, they're not rounding up anymore. I love it. They're not rounding up anymore. If you're 61, it could be a month before your next birthday, and you're still going to be 61 if you're 60. So we're going to be able to give them the coverage at the age they are now, not a insurance age like we used to. I love it.
Great.
That is going to be absolutely phenomenal. How many times have we gone through underwriting? Somebody makes a birthday during underwriting. It was not issued yet, and we got to come back and tell them that the policy is going to be more money. Any of y'all ever experienced that?
No.
You're trying to rack your brain how I'm gonna package this, you know. You didn't told them one price, now you got to come back again and tell them something else. Sometimes I was more successful at calling the home office and say, look, y'all gonna have to put this back at that price that person was, because I'm not gonna do that. Because it depends on, it may make that person's, it depends on the age, and it might go up another $20, $30 a month. Okay. Sometimes you're not successful doing that. So waiver of premium. If they are 50 or lower, I consider doing a waiver of premium. Because what's the chances of them having a disability? They could have one, is slim to none, but 10 years is a long time to go trying to pay on something. And okay, if that happens, which it does, just go back and find your person again, Betty Boop, and it should have saved what you were doing. Thank God. Okay, so we're back where we was at. Okay. All right. So that coverage for both of them. So they say they have 3 children. We put 25,000 on the kids. The reason why I do 25,000, another thing that's coming out with the next gen. When a person turns 18, they have to get their own policy now. They're no longer going to be a rider on somebody's policy if they're already 18. They have to get a separate policy. If they were already on the policy before they turn 18 as a rider, they can stay on to their 25. But if you're doing somebody who's already 18, they cannot be a rider on the policy anymore. I like that too. Okay. All right. So here, now let me ask y'all a question. We done put waiver premium. Remember, waiver premium expires at age 60. So just be careful, use your discretion with that. If they don't use it, they lose it at age 60. We don't want them to use it though. I'm not gonna go break my leg so I can have a disability, right? So here, oh, it did $500,000. Oh, it didn't import it. Let me see, Texas, it did it. So just for time's sake, I'm gonna do 1,100. I'm gonna go back to 35 years, 1,100, and then hers was just 1,000, around $1 million. Take these out. They had $500,000 right here. Take these out. Waiver premium. So, and the kids are covered at 25,000. Now this is what they need. A lot of time they don't want to pay this, but in all honesty, do you think $500 a month is too much to protect your family if something would happen to you? Especially if we can sit down and do a plan and find the money. Because most of these people that claim that they don't have money, they paying $200 and $300 a month for cable. And cell phones.
Yes.
So is $500 too much for car insurance? Someone paying this for car insurance.
It's true.
But if you lost your income due to a premature death, all of that's going to go to the wayside anyway. I think that's $2 million worth of coverage for the whole $2,125,000 covering the whole family, $500 a month. That's not bad. Will everybody be able to afford what they need? No, they won't. So you start them somewhere. $750,000 of coverage. And then what I do is, guys, I don't just decrease the coverage automatically. This is what I do. Oh, you can't afford that? That's too much? Let's see what a 30-year is. Oh, you can't afford that? So that knocked it down $100. Can you afford that? Oh, that's still too much. Oh, I got something. Let's do this then. Let's do $500,000 for 30 years. 600,000 for 20 years, and $500,000 for her for 20 years. 367. What did I just do? Come on, y'all. What did I just do?
Split it. The 30 years.
I'm about to pull my teacher hat on. Alex, unmute. What did I just do? Because we got one person just answering.
It seems like you
Doubled the coverage.
No, I didn't.
It's like overlapped it.
No, let Alex answer. I didn't double it.
it seems like you it just like you redid the thing. I don't know, maybe every 10 years.
Ms. Polk, you there?
I'm still here.
What did I just do? Let me ask you a question. So, Alex, going back to Alex, did I decrease the coverage that they needed? Did I decrease it?
No, you
They have
increased.
the same amount of coverage, right?
Right.
So what did I do to the years?
I'm not sure.
Aisha?
You decrease the years with the I guess in the earlier years they needed you decrease the years. You went the $500 thousand in the 30 years. And then when that's done, you decreased it to 20 years
Okay.
for the 600,000. So that's not a split. That's just a decrease in
Okay.
years.
So what I did was I gave them a customized plan. Okay. You wouldn't have known that part. That's not what I was trying to get out of you. Let's go back to the history. This is why it's important to understand what the client's history is. So we talked about their children. How old was the youngest child? How would I say the youngest child was earlier?
5.
5. And I said we need to get this child of 21 protecting that income, right?
Right.
So if I did a 20-year, I split it in half, their coverage in half, did 20 years for half of it. Is that how old is that child going to be in 20 years?
25.
25. So did I fulfill my obligation to that youngest child, protecting that income?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I did, right? So that child actually should be working on a postgraduate. They should be working on a master's at that point or something, right? And they should be way out of college at 25. They should, if they play their cards right, right? So I covered them at what they needed. At 20 years, they wouldn't need to have the whole income. And keep in mind, we're working with them on their finances anyway. We're going to be investing over the next 20 years. So they don't need as much coverage anymore. If they had a mortgage, let's say they were in their house for 5, they had just bought the house that year. How many more years in 20 years would they have left on the mortgage? if they didn't pay extra on the principal and interest? How many more years would they have?
If they bought it that year,
Say that one more time.
you said if they bought it that year.
If they bought the house, let's say they bought a house this year. This is a client I'm sitting with currently, and they just bought the house, literally bought it a few months before I sat down with them. And 20 years from now, how many years would they have left on that mortgage?
10.
10 more years on that mortgage, right? So
Right.
would they owe, let's say they bought the house for 200,000, right? Would they owe 200,000 20 years from now?
No,
No.
much less.
No, nowhere near 200,000, right? So now the 600,000 and the 500,000 for the wife is going to fall off. They will only have a $500,000 apiece in coverage. Are they still covered with a good amount of insurance?
Yes.
Yes, they are. So you see what I just did? I customized it to their situation. It still fits the need, and I made it a lot cheaper than $500 and something dollars.
Mhm.
Oh, that's still too much? Well, I got one more option because I'm not gonna go any lower than 20 years for the $600 and $500. I got one more option. All I can do is just move this down one more time. Then I'm gonna move this down. Only time I do 15 and 10 years, they have to be up in age. I don't even entertain that. Okay. So they have to be up in age. So that made it 346. Now from here, it's decreasing the amount of coverage. Oh, that's still too much? Really and truly, I don't think that that's too much for this. This is phenomenal coverage for that. But let's say that you're still getting down, so I can go down. So now I'm going to decrease this. Because in earlier years, they need the majority of the coverage in the earlier years. They're more vulnerable. So now I'm going to do 250. Now we at 264. Oh, I could afford that. But you gotta do a good job when you do a customized program of explaining it up front, what you're doing, what is going to happen after 20 years, and how much coverage and why. And if you're not licensed to do securities, you need to set up a meeting with that person that is licensed immediately so that they can sit down with them and show them how to start investing. Because what's going to happen is if you leave this policy naked without anything, that enemy agent is going to come in. He going to say, look at this policy. You paying for $1 million, but in 20 years, you're not even going to have $1 million. You're only going to have 250,000. And that's how they're going to get them to switch over to universal life. I can show you a better plan than that. You're going to have money saved and everything invested with here. It's called Index Universal Life. And then you ain't talked to your client and God knows when. So they done forgot everything you told them. Okay. So we still met the obligation of the needs, even with this, to be honest. We ain't quite there, but we further ahead than what they would have been. And keep in mind, the increase in benefit rider is going to kick in every year. And if they keep letting it increase, it's going to get them back to where we wanted them anyway. So keep in mind. So knowing your product, knowing your client, knowing everything gets you in the frame of mind to where you can actually sit down and put together a customized plan for and you can think quick on your feet, like Bernie Mac said in Players Club, you did good, you did good. You was quick with your feet. Now go on now. Go on now. You know, we told that guy. So yeah, so you'll be able to think quick on your feet. Right? So here you got to be able to know your products. And then guess what? They made it easy for you. Apply now. So you went from the quote, you went from the needs assessment, drop the information in the quote. I just happened to hit something on my computer and they messed it up. So drop the information in the quote, and now you can go straight into the application from here. and it brings you there. If they've had COVID in the last 90 days, don't even worry about it. You got to talk to. Been 30 days ago, I'll see you in 60 days. Don't even go any further. That's what it's telling you right here. Okay. And then you go from here and you start filling out now. We would, of course, if this is a practice application, that's where you would get practice application and you third party. So we're on Zoom. That's what this means, this question here. Did you do it on a Zoom or some other third-party video web conferencing that's comparable to Zoom? Did you do it on that? The answer would be yes in this case, if I was on it with a client. If not, if I'm sitting face-to-face with them, kneecap, eyeball to eyeball, then I would put no there, okay? And then I would go to the next screen and so forth. That's how you do that. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you is a short financial needs analysis. The longer one takes a while to do. We have to do that another time. But so go back here to your Turbo apps. I mean, not Turbo apps, your Primerica app. Everybody can still see it, right? Swirling. Hamburger menu. And then mobile FNA. FNA stands for Financial Needs Analysis. And of course, Betty and her husband are in here already. So, and I'm going to hit include spouse. I'm going to get their phone numbers, email, all address, and all that stuff. Hit the arrow right here. And everything is already scripted. You can't be scared to do it. In life, Mr. and Mrs. Boot, there's two major risks: dying too soon and living too long. The goal is to protect your family and yourself and your family in the event of either situation. The FNA can help provide solutions in both. So this is called the theory of decreasing responsibility. You need to explain to them what this is. It doesn't say that here, but you need to explain to them, because most people don't understand that this theory has been around for 100-something years. So in the earlier years, you need a lot of insurance coverage. That's why this line is high for insurance. In the earlier years, you don't have a lot of savings. You don't have a lot of money. But if you die too soon and you don't have enough insurance and a lot of money, that's not a good situation. Would you agree, Mr. and Mrs. Booth? All right. So in the later years, you may not need a lot of insurance coverage, but you need a lot of savings. And I always give an example. I always say, you can't go to Kroger or Walmart and get groceries with a life insurance policy. Can't say, well, I don't have enough money to pay for these groceries. Hold on to my life insurance policy and I'll come back. No, so you need money in retirement. You know, if you live, especially if you live a long time. So we teach you how to build up a cash estate while you take yourself off the need for life insurance over time. Okay, that's what I explained into there. So then here it says how many years you have for retirement. So they have 25 years left until they retire. My goal is to find out what your ideal retirement is at this point, because I don't want to retire at age 60. I actually want to retire before then, but you got to be realistic too. So what's realistically the age you want to retire? Less than 60, but realistically. Most people tell me, believe it or not, 55. They say I would love to retire at 55. So that gives them a 20-year stretch to make this thing happen. You go to the next. So Betty makes $5,500. It's already pre-filled, so I'm going to go with it. $5,500 a month in income is what Betty makes. Ronald makes $7,500. Okay. All righty. So they both bring in monthly $13,000 a month. If they retire today, then I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna hit this information. It's recommended by financial professionals that you may need 70 to 80% of your current income in retirement. So if they retired in today's dollars, today's gas prices, gallon of milk costs, all of that stuff, that's what they would at least need $10,400 coming in. What is the monthly income goal? Today's dollars. So I'm not making up something. It's actually right there for you to say. So you get stuck, click on the information tab. Let them read it. Okay. How does inflation affect your goal? Due to inflation, the cost of items you purchase will increase. Your income goal will also need to increase to keep up with inflation. So in today's dollars, $10,400, 20 years from now is going to spend, you're going to need $18,783 coming in to have the same lifestyle you would have had off of $10,400. Is that important to know? Very important,
Absolutely.
right? So what's the assumptions? So this is based on a 3% inflation rate. You can change it. You can change it to 4 because it's really 3 to 4%. And an income goal, and then the retirement age that we put in before. You want to know what this means? Today's dollars. Click on that. Based on the first person to retire, the oldest person to retire. So if Betty is older than Ronald, it's going based on her. Sometimes we have that situation. So how much will they need to retire? Based on the assumptions to meet their retirement goal, they will need to have $8,275,000. That's their financial independence number, or FIN number, not the VIN number on their car. Their financial independence number, which is most important. How many people you know have their? How many people do you know have that know their financial independence number? And people tell you all the time, I already have a financial advisor. And I say, oh, that's fantastic. What's your financial independence number? Some of them lie. You can tell they lying. So if you're lying about something like that, I don't even want you to be my client. I'm just gonna say, okay, well, thank you. You have a great day. But if you up front and you say that, I'm gonna say, well, there's only 2 scenarios with a financial advisor that hasn't told you their financial independence number. But there's only one scenario, really. They ain't working on yours, they're working on theirs financial independence number. Because any financial advisor should be able to tell you how much money you need to have for retirement. It shouldn't be a secret. So they're working on their financial independence number with your money. That's what they're working on. Okay, so here, they already have $150,000 saved in retirement between their 401ks, and they're putting about $500 a month into their 401ks right now. So their savings will grow to $1.2 million. It's a far cry from $8 million. So we're wondering why people have to go back to work, especially those when they say, well, I got $1 million. We got $1 million in our retirement account. And then you're like, well, next thing you know, you see them doing all kinds of stuff to make money because they didn't realize that $1 million wasn't going to last forever. They need $8 million to last them until age what? What does it say down here at the bottom? Provides income to what?
85.
85. My grandmother used to always say, I'm gonna go get me a job. I said, who's gonna hire you? You 80. She cussed me out when I told her that. She said, I'm gonna go get me a car. I said, I'm not riding nowhere with you in no car. You can't even cross the street without getting hit by a car. So I know you can't drive a car across the street. I'm not getting in that car. And she just looked at me. I said, no, I'm not riding nowhere. I'm gonna walk. If you go get a car, I'm walking.
She should have cussed you out, bro.
You know,
wow.
but I told her, I'm not going riding nowhere with you. No, I'm gonna do the driving. Your driving days are over. And she didn't have a license. Her license was expired. And what's the chance of her being able to get another license?
Oh, that's at least like that.
You know, they ain't gonna give it to her, right? So anyway, so that's what meet their goal. And so, of course, we want to check that off. Then you go to the next one. And all of y'all have the ability to do this because your life license. So now the insurance is what we're focusing on. And this thing keeps getting big, and I don't know how to make it smaller. it's not over here. That's not it. And when I minimize it, it still doesn't do. Anyway. So here, so they need, it didn't fill him in because I didn't have him already on here. So you just need to fill in the part here. Because I'm assuming again that they want all this stuff paid off if either one of them was to. So in this case, they only have one child. And so that's their insurance needs right there. So we need to replace the income for 15 years. Because they have a 6-year-old now. Okay. So that's what they need right there. So it's telling you right there what they need. You go to the next page, so now it's going to fill that in. Okay. So it's going to cost them, they need 90. Is this good or bad? $98 for $525,000 worth of coverage.
Excellent.
Sounds good.
Right? So that's this other quote I gave them. So that's it. I guess a quote that I give them if they say they can't afford this up here. You know, I might give them another quote. And when I give them another quote, I'm trying no less than. So let's see here, because I don't see him on here. That's just one person on here. Yeah, they didn't fill it in. Okay. So let's say they keep giving me, they can't afford it. I'm going down to $500,000. That's 156 for both of them. And the kids are covered at 25. So if you can leave out of there with no less than $500,000, you're doing good because most people ain't got that. And then I add the waiver of premium on so it's 167 with the waiver of premium. That's only, and I break it down. That's only $80-something between the two of y'all each. You got to break it down so they can understand that it's not really that much money. You bringing in $5,000-something a month, and he bringing in $7,500, and y'all only spending $80 a piece for the whole family to be covered. That's not bad. And then you hit apply, and then you can apply now right out of here. Okay. Let's say they're not ready. You know, well, when the question is when you gonna be ready, you know, because you're not guaranteed tomorrow, you know. I don't make a habit. I don't like to do this, but you can. You can print this out and send it to them. But be careful of that because sometimes they try to be slick and use your stuff to go shop around for somebody else's stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you can print. Well, you used to be able to print it. Look at the print feature. I don't see it. Okay, wait a minute. Oh yeah, right here. So the 3 dots over here in the right, you hit print, and you can print out, and it creates a very professional looking report for you. It has your name on it, and it does a theory of decreasing responsibility. In the earlier years, you're likely to have the most financial obligations. In the later years, your financial commitments are fewer. That means you need less protection in life insurance. And it plugs in their actual age, their customized stuff for this actual report. You see that? And it has disclosures. It tells them about the life insurance, all that stuff in one. Just use your discretion on that. You know, if it's somebody you know that usually follows through on what they say they're gonna do, I would give them this. If not, I would not waste my time. And so that's the mobile F&A we did on how to cover an application, and we did all the incentive stuff for the day. That's all I have for today. Any questions?
Okay, so I want to ask you, Earlier you said that when you find someone that is not convinced, how do you know? What do you do when they're not convinced or whatever? They say they don't need to leave anything for their children or their husband or their wife or whatever. Do you back up? Do you leave their house? How do you do it?
Well, I give them my information, my card, and I tell them, well, when you're ready to move forward, give me a call. Do you mind if I keep in touch with you for maybe give you a call in the next 60 to 90 days? But I'm not in the convincing business.
Okay, and then one other question I have is, let's say you're doing coverage for a family and both parents die at the same time. Do they get both of the like the benefits for both parents, or it's just one?
No, they get for both. So if God forbid if something happened to my wife and I, we both have 900,000 apiece with Primerica. So my kids are not the beneficiary because they're too young to be beneficiaries. So whoever we have as a beneficiary who's going to take care of our children, they're going to get $1.8 million.
Okay.
Mm.
That's all I have. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions?
Appreciate it, Mr. Brown.
You're welcome. So I try to, give y'all value on here. I know sometimes it could be a little bit longer but we only meet once a week. And I know some other people, they do like 30 minutes. It's really not much. You can bring some value, but really to actually do this type of training where you're actually doing an application and showing how to do it in the right way, you need a little bit more time than that.
Right.
You need a lot more time than that. But the psychology behind what we do, it's a lot. It's a lot, and you won't do it if you won't be able to do it. You won't know how to do Primerica. It's totally different from being an insurance salesman to actually sitting down and educating. It's totally different.
I have another question.
Uh-huh.
Are you going to send me back to POL if I ask you when is this next gen supposed to start?
Now, let me clarify on that. I'm not going to send you to POL if I've identified that you actually went on there and you've actually been looking at the stuff and you just have a question you don't understand. But if I identify, and I will, and don't take me long to catch on, that you have not put forth the effort to look at anything, and then you come in and ask me something, I'm going to tell you, go look at the stuff first. And I think that's only fair. I think that's only fair. So if you have a question about what you watched, I don't have a problem with that. But if you are not watching the stuff and you expect me to watch it and help you in all that stuff, I'm not doing that.
So my question is, when is that supposed to start?
I'm not sure because they have not announced the transition yet, but all of the trainings are here.
Okay.
So all of the trainings are all of the trainings under the life insurance. So when you go to the next gen training experience, so they have not rolled it out yet. It's coming. October 5th is when they're going to start doing the regional trainings. They're going to start doing trainings online, all that stuff. But they already have put out the trainings starting already under the next gen training videos and training decks and fact sheets and all that stuff. So really you can get ahead of the game, but I'm quite sure there's some things that are going to come up through the rollout process that they have not talked about yet. So you need to be on there during these trainings, or at least I'm going to try my best to record all of them and make them available. But again, it takes you going on and looking at the stuff once I've uploaded it onto the Telegram. You know, so I don't know exactly when, but it's coming soon. If they're starting this in October, I'm thinking by the beginning of next year, we're going to be in full-fledged rollout of the next gen and precision term, as well as the I'm forgetting the name of the other one, but anyway, well, next gen and precision term. Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, you mentioned that with next gen, the riders are gonna be coming off at 18.
No. With next gen, the riders will stay on to their 25. If you encounter a person who is already 18. So in years past, we had a client, let's say we sit down with a client, and the client has children. Most of the time, the children don't even live with them anymore. They're like 21 years old, 23. And we were able to put them on as a rider without even contacting them because they're considered a child with us until they're age 25. Well, no longer can that happen. At age, if that person's child is 18, even if they're still in high school living with them, because, you know, we have some of those, they turn 18 early in the year, you have to do a separate policy for that client, for that child. If they already were on as a rider, so let's say going forward, so let's say next year, 2023, you write somebody up, they have a 5-year-old. That person stays with you till that child is 25. They will stay on that policy till they're 25. But let's say you encounter a same type of family, they already have children, all their children are 18 or older. You're going to have to do a policy on every last one of those children, separate. They cannot ride on after age 18. If they're already riding, they can ride to age 25. Did that make sense?
Yes, it did. But you accommodated that. You said that's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing. You know why I think it's a good thing? Because those child rider conversions are hard to keep up with. I have more of them that don't convert than do. They're hard to keep up with. If we start them off at 18, then we don't have to worry about it forever, ever again. Those child rider conversions. Don't have to worry about it. Not only that, I'm more about educating and teaching the right thing. I think at 18, especially if you're working a little job, that you should be starting to teach them how to manage their own finances and their life insurance policy. You know, so I think from an education perspective is good because then it brings us to the table. If I got to meet with that 18-year-old, see, before I would just put them on there, never meet them, never hear from them, nothing like that. But now you got to sign for it at 18. So guess what I'm talking to you about? Setting up your mutual fund for $25 a month. Because a lot of them have little jobs and they make it $25 a month on a little job. So I think when you think about it in a perspective of educational standpoint and being able to reach the masses, that is going to help you reach them. But if you look at just for a quick sale and a buck get out the door, then and you don't really care about what's going on with the family as a whole, then that's perfect for you, you know. But you know, that's I don't think anybody on here has that type of thing.
Okay.
And another thing, because people, I don't want anybody to think that because doctors do great things for people. They cure diseases in some cases. They help people. But at the end of the day, they get paid a lot of money, right? And nobody questions that, and they shouldn't. They have a skill set and they should get compensated for what they do. And that's the same thing with us. If I'm spending hours upon hours, I'm going to get licensed. I'm doing all these things. I'm sitting in trainings on Saturday when I could be at home in my bed, sleep. I need to be compensated for my services. I don't feel guilty about getting paid either but that shouldn't be my main focus. So my focus is I got to feed my family too, but I also want to make sure that this family is going to be straight financially, bulletproof over time financially. So you can do both and still you can do good and get paid well at the same time. So going back to your question earlier as well, and you will make more money because you're doing an individual policy and not a rider.
Exactly. Yep. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? All right. So we'll be back here next week, 11:45. And sometimes our trainings will be shorter. It just depends on what we're covering. Today, I wanted to make sure that we went through all of those incentives. And it was, when I saw it yesterday, I was like, oh my God. You know, when I looked at it kind of, you know, because our month begins on the 8th. So we're new into the month. So I didn't have time to really look at it because we're just finishing up last month. Yes, what's today, the 8th? The 8th? No, today's the 10th. We're just finishing up last month a couple of days ago. So I'm just getting a chance to really, and I said, man, I didn't realize this was that many slides. Like 40 something, almost 50 slides for just the incentives and stuff this month. And the change, I guess the change in life insurance product added a few slides to it. But I pondered, I said, should I cover, what can I cut out? But I couldn't see where I could cut out anything and not depreciate the value of it. Okay. So just go back and review it because it's a lot. Go back and review it for yourself. Go to the homepage, Primerica homepage. You have the everything that I showed y'all today. If you click on surge to 150,000, this is your presentation right here. Download the presentation and you can go through it and dissect it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, let me stop the recording for this.